Magandang araw po sa inyong lahat. Ang topic na pag-uusapan ko ngayon ay architectural designs of resilience or resilient architectural designs. Ano kayang ibig sabihin nun? No? Recently, just a few days ago, we had a massive earthquake po sa south. Tinamaan po ang Cotabato, tinamaan ang General Santos City, tinamaan po ang Davao. Hindi ito ang pinakauna, hindi rin ito ang magiging huli. Ang tao po ay namamatay, hindi dahil sa earthquake lang, pero dahil sa mga gusali na gumuguho. Ang architecture po ay originally is a means by which we protect ourselves. We build our houses, we build our buildings, we build our churches, we build our schools. Architecture ho ang nagbibigay sa atin ng mga espasyong ganon para sa ating mga aktibidad, para sa ating kinakailangan sa buhay natin, para sa lahat ng activities na ginagawa natin on a day-to-day basis. But architecture, pwede rin pong maging delikado sa atin, katulad nung nangyari doon. Ang Pilipinas, ang bayan natin ay napakagandang bayan. Pero we are also blessed or cursed by every type of disaster, from typhoons to earthquakes to volcanic eruptions. 2013, tinamaan po tayo ng one of the biggest super typhoons in recent years, yung Yolanda. And much of the destruction that was wrought by Yolanda was in destruction that was also caused by storm surges, by winds, etc. Marami ding namatay dyan, hindi lang nalunod, pero nasaktan dahil sa mga gumuho din na structures. So when we talk about resilience in architecture, ang resilience na yan ay lampas ho sa basics na pangangailangan ng katibayan ng architecture. Ang architecture, at the least, has to be safe. It has to be durable, it has to be resistant to the types of forces that are imposed by disasters such as this. Unfortunately, in the same way, ang architecture has also caused much of the conditions that tinatawag natin na climate change is coming about. Much of the energy, much of the pollution, much of the conditions, the substances, the processes that we use to build our buildings are the same processes po na naninira sa ating environment. And in recent years, ang mga arkitekto ay nag-iisip na rin kung anong pwedeng gawin para mabawi natin ang mga masasamang nangyayari sa environment dahil dito. Maririnig nyo madalas ang tinatawag na green architecture. Ang green architecture is one approach by which we try to mitigate what has already happened, to try and avoid how our environment has deteriorated, how our environment has been affected by architecture, by construction. But architecture is not alone. Ang architecture po, ang mga buildings natin, pag sinama-sama nyo yan, anong nakikita natin ang ating mga syudad, our cities. And our cities right now are one of the major contributors also to the kinds of effects and the kinds of impact on climate change. Rising sea levels, increasing temperatures, many of these are brought about by lifestyles, are brought about by the activities, by the day-to-day na nangyayari dito sa atin mga cities. Architecture is challenged now to mitigate this. And more than mitigate, we're also challenged on how to remedy. No? Maririnig nyo rin, along with green architecture sa ngayon, the need for carbon, tinatawag na carbon negative. Meaning, whatever energy is consumed by the building, it's net zero. We don't use more energy that the building can produce. Kaya may mga sistema tayo tinatawag yun ng mga photovoltaic panels sa roof, mga water management, sewage water, wastewater management ng buildings, and other forms of energy, alternative energy systems na nakakatulong po sa pag-mitigate po ng effects ng climate change. Among these, of course, are the kinds of activities po na tayo as a people, we need to rethink. Ang marami ho nagsasabi dito, napaka-traffic. Totoo po yun. Napaka-traffic sa ating mga syudad. Metro Manila, almost 12 million people. Mega Manila, ang surrounding po sa Metro Manila, almost 25 million people. Isa sa 4 ng Pilipino ay nakatira sa Mega Manila. Can we expect that it will get better? Hopefully it can. Pero the reality of the situation po is, sa laki ng ating bansa, isa sa 4 na Pilipino ang nakatira sa Mega Manila. And along with it, all the problems na nakikita natin. Bakit ang traffic malala? Bakit ang basura malala? Bakit tayo ngayon nawawala ng tubig? No? And right now, we're already expecting na magkaroon ulit ng water crisis. Hindi kasi natin nakokontrol, hindi natin na-mitigate itong problema natin ng population, ang problema natin ng overpopulation and congestion within our cities. As an architect, I hope na meron kaming solution for this. And that is one of the things that is challenging not only architects in the academe katulad ko, but architects who are also practicing in the profession sa labas. Resilience cannot be limited only to resilience against natural disasters. Definitely, dadating dyan na may bagyo, dadating yan may earthquake, dadating yan na may volcanic eruptions, hopefully hindi sabay. Sinasabi natin, maraming nagtatanong minsan, can the building withstand an intensity 8 earthquake? We can design a building to withstand an intensity 8 earthquake. Can we design it to withstand an intensity 10? Probably so. Pero anong magiging halaga niyan? Kaya ba natin yung gastos natin na gumawa ng isang building that will withstand an intensity 10? If so, baka hindi naman kayanan natin gumawa ng mga gusaling ganyan para sa ating mga kababayan, para sa ating mga kapwa. Ultimately, ang question natin pagdating sa architecture, when we talk about resilience, is how can we provide for the future? Is resilience only limited to how we're able to respond, how we're able to resist disasters? Or can buildings go further? Pwede ba ang mga gusali natin ay tumulong sa pag-remediate or pag-solve ng climate change? And that is one of the challenges that architecture is. Hindi pwedeng resilience lang. No? Right now, architects are already looking at solutions where ang buildings are not only carbon neutral, but can also be carbon negative. Ano ibig sabihin po ng carbon negative? Where we actually produce more energy than we consume. That we're actually able to recycle water, to maybe even generate water more than what the building needs. And right now, marami na mga approaches na ginagawa mga arkitekto para makatulong sa paggawa ng ganyan. We're looking at buildings that can already actively reduce carbon emissions and even produce more oxygen using green roofs, using green walls, using other methods and other elements within the building that can help to mitigate and further not only mitigate, but remedy the situation of climate change. Urban farming. Mga arkitekto ngayon, tumitingin ng mga gusali na pwede kayong magtanim sa bubong, pwede kayong magtanim sa floors, pwede kayong magtanim sa labas ng building mismo. Any building gagamit ng lupa. No? So, ang mga gusali natin, yan ang mga we have to literally use land resources in order to build our buildings. The more buildings we build, the more land we use. And the more land we use, the less land we have for food, for agriculture, and for other purposes. Ang water supply natin is getting more limited. And this is one aspect of architecture na kailangan din ma-mitigate. All in all, the challenges of architecture are in the future. We have to provide for what we are going to need in the future. Sustainability relates to this. Ang sustainability po ay ang paggamit ng resources na hindi tayo umuutang sa mga anak natin na sila ang magbabayad dun sa ginagamit natin ngayon. And ultimately, because it is sustainable, it has to think about how the future will be addressed. The future is changing very, very fast. Ang problema natin ngayon is hindi natin forecast kung anong mangyayari sa future in the same kind of time frames that we used to be able to do before. Dati gagawa tayo ng projections 20, 30, 40 years in the future. Ngayon, 15 years in the future, minsan hindi na natin makakayanan i-forecast kung anong mangyayari nun. Our architecture has to be more flexible. Our architecture has to be more, ang ginagamit kong term dyan, mutable. Hindi lang flexible, kundi kayang magbago. Nakakakita tayo ngayon ng mga gusali, mga buildings, na even the form of the building changes through time. May mga buildings dyan na nagro-rotate, may mga buildings dyan na lumalaki, may mga buildings dyan na lumiliit. There are buildings there that through the course of time, they will be designed to change, they will be designed to use less energy, they will even be designed to produce more energy, as I said, than what they're actually using. So marami hong challenges ang architecture in the next years. Not only in the next years, in the next decades, in the next century. Right now, ang climate change is already looking at possible sea level rise of maybe even up to 1 meter in the next 100 years. Sa Pilipinas pa lang, ilan ang mga syudad natin na coastal cities na maapekto dyan. Most of Manila was actually originally below sea level. So pag umakyat lang ng 1 meter ang sea level rise in the next 100 years, many of our coastal cities will be inundated. Many of our buildings will be lost simply because they are unable to adapt to the kind of changing conditions that we expect to see in the next 100 years. Maybe less, maybe even the 50 years. Is there hope? Of course there is hope. There is always hope. Ang importante kasi is not only for architects to understand that we are the ones challenged with meeting these risks, meeting these threats, but as a whole, tayong lahat ay kailangan makaisip kung paano natin magagawan ng paraan para bumuti ang ating environment, bumuti ang ating climate, bumuti ang ating living conditions. And much of this will entail ang pagbabago ng sarili nating kabuhayan, sarili nating lifestyle. Whether we ride a bus to go to work, whether we take a car, or maglakad, lahat ito may impact sa ating environment, lahat ito may impact sa ating architecture. Do we design our buildings as such? We have to design our buildings in order to meet these kinds of demands. How the buildings relate to each other. Ang mga gusali natin right now ay masyadong dispersed, masyadong spread out, masyadong maraming kinakain na lupa. Is there any other way that we can design our buildings, design our cities to meet these demands of resilience? So it isn't only a question of surviving disasters. It is a question of how to improve the way we respond to these disasters, and more than that, how we're able to finally mitigate some of the conditions that these disasters are leading to. Siguro volcanoes, siguro in earthquakes, mahirap natin ma-mitigate yan. But much of climate change is also due to temperature rise, is also due to pollution, is also due to the kind of impacts that our cities are causing to the environment as a whole. And that is the challenge that architecture has to meet. It is not only about resilience in terms of reacting to what happens to you today, it's also a proactive approach to improving our condition and improving our environment for the future. Yan ang magiging legacy, yan ang magiging challenge po ng ating arkitektura. At ang mga batang arkitekto ngayon, katulad ng mga tinuturo namin ngayon dito sa universidad at sa labas, natatanggap nila na kailangan magkaroon ng ibang approach sa architecture. Hindi lang sa itsura, hindi lang sa plano, hindi lang sa design, pero sa mga objektibo at sa mga goals na kailangan ma-meet ng architecture in order for them to meet those challenges. Ang architecture has always been the way by which tayo as a people, tayo as individuals have sought to achieve the way we want to live. Ang ating aspirations, ang ating dreams, ang architecture ang nagiging paraan kung paano natin ma-achieve yan. But for the future, we have to go much further than just that. Kailangan natin matingnan kung ano talaga ang kailangan natin not only for ourselves, but for a people as a whole, for a country especially more, and as a world. We need to do that with everybody else, helping out, understanding kung anong kailangan natin gawin. In a way, all of us are architects. In a way, all of us are teachers. In a way, all of us will have to help in improving and making sure that buildings do not just become machines for living, but machines for healing the planet. And I think ultimately yan ang core ng architecturally resilient designs. Maraming salamat po.